Thank you so much for making time. Of course, we are always proud and happy to have you join us right here on the summit. Every Wednesday, at a time and day like this, we are always alive, and of course we scale the heights to just bring you conversations that matter to you and I, and all of us from Rwanda here, East Africa, Africa, and of course globally. If you're hearing this voice for the very first time, if you're seeing me for the first time, as always, my name is Eugene. And thank you so much for making the time. Like I said earlier on, we are so happy that you've always chosen to be part of this particular program. And of course, tonight on the program, we are putting on the spotlight a conversation that we must have, a conversation that we are not going to be able to finish tonight. I want to say that. But of course, we want to start it. We want to see how best we can be able to figure out in terms of having the stunting rates under the NST2, of course, right here in Rwanda. We'll talk more a bit about that, but let me invite our panelists who are joining us right here in studio to be able to put their minds and brains onto this particular subject matter. And I want to start off with the program manager at NCDA. NCDA is the National Child Development Agency of Rwanda, Emon Rwasamanzi, who's actually the program manager. Let's appreciate him as he joins us. Please, karibu sana, join us. Tumukomera mashi, please. We are in studio, and I'm sure we have people right here. They're not robots in studio. Of course, thank you so much for those applause. We are also joined by a food and nutrition scientist. This is very important for us because we want to understand the science behind stunting and what can science help in terms of dealing with this. Joining us right about now is a food and nutrition scientist. She's none other than Professor Hilda Vasantakalam. Let's appreciate Professor Hilda. Let's clap for her as she joins us on the panel. Thank you very much, Prof, for making time. Of course, last but not least is none other than the country representative of GAIN Rwanda. Of course, he's going to be sharing the perspectives from a non-governmental organization perspective. Silva Karumba, country representative, GAIN Rwanda. Appreciate him, please, ladies and gentlemen. Karibu sana, karibu sana. I want to just put some perspective on this particular conversation tonight and just be able to understand what we know so far when it comes to this particular issue. If you go on our social platform, like I said earlier on, you can be able to catch this conversation. On the X platform, we are currently live right there. And of course, the hashtag to use as always is the Summit RW. I'll be able to trace this particular hashtag throughout. And anytime you drop your post, we'll be able to refresh and we'll be able to catch it right here. Of course, as we can see right now on the RBA Rwanda handle, we are live right there. Thank you so much to all the 56 of you who are actually tuned in right now. This is live as we speak. We're also live on the YouTube channel. It's on RwandaTV YouTube channel. Please jump on there. I'll be coming right here to be able to read some of the feedback that is right there. I want to tell you this. If you want to know more about NST2, there's been a lot of information that has already been availed across different platforms. All you need to do is just go right there and be able to search NST2, and once you check it out, the information will come right there. And of course, it will give you so much details about what people are asking. They're asking what is thinking and working together towards NST2. But what I want us to focus our eyes on is right here on the Parliament website, when the Right Honourable Prime Minister of Rwanda did present the 5-year government program. And I want us to just quickly go through some of the pillars right there. There's the economic growth pillar, and there's the tackling stunting and malnutrition. And of course, what I know is that a significant part of the plan is focused on reducing stunting and malnutrition in children by improving healthcare, nutrition programs and social services. The government hopes to lower stunting rates and ensure that every child has a healthy start in life. And that particular target is there, and it is by half. Will it be possible? What will be required? And that is what I want us to put on blast right now and be able to put perspective onto that. Thank you so much for joining us on this very important conversation. Normally I would start with the ladies, but today I want to break that cycle just for tonight. I hope, Prof, you'll really forgive me for that. But I want to be able to ask, first of all, Emon, because from what we're discussing, there's a lot of connection from an agency perspective in terms of what has to be done in this particular case. you know, I want you to just put perspective for us. Some have thrown numbers. We've seen the statistics, you know, at the range of between 32.4, you know, close to 33%. But I want you to give us perspective. Where do we stand as we speak today, from the records you have, from the numbers that you're seeing, so that we can now start building the blocks to see whether we can meet this, you know, 50% slash in the rates of malnutrition slash stunting?
Okay. Thank you, Anangwe, for having us here. It's a great pleasure to be with you here. Based on what you have been presenting, let's first look back in 5 years back.
Yeah.
Stunting rate has been on 38%.
It's even more than 33, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
In 2020, based on the DHS data, it is at 33%. Now, we are almost 5 years. Another DHS is ongoing.
Yeah.
But when you see, based on the data, the government has done a lot in collaboration with the stakeholders, but there is a long way still to go.
Yeah.
But again, based on the NST2 in next 5 years,
Yes.
we need to achieve stunting reduction. We need to accelerate stunting reduction by 15%. Of course, a lot have been done, but still there is a lot to be done.
Yeah.
So we have seen some of key factors that multiple factors, but they are top priorities. For example, poor maternal nutrition and inadequate health services.
Yeah.
And also, we still seeing inappropriate infant and younger child feeding practices.
Yeah.
Also, poor hygiene and sanitation. But to solve those issues,
Yeah.
NCDA, in collaboration with other stakeholders, last year, NCDA launched 2-year multi-sectoral plan to accelerate stunting reduction.
Yes.
With its 6 key interventions.
Yeah. Which we'll come to in a short while.
So
yes.
What I want to show is that there is a lot to do.
There's a lot to do.
And you are in, and we call upon all stakeholders to get in together.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Prof, I'll come to you in just a bit. But let me ask, you know, what we can be able to hear from Silva. On our topic tonight, I know the number in terms of the target is slicing by 15% by 2029.
Yes.
But I want to be more ambitious. Because Rwanda is an ambitious country.
Yes.
We actually think, and we do.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm pushing ourselves. What do we need to do if we are to have these rates? Is it even possible? Is it even practical? I'm looking at not 15, but 50% by 2029. What will it take?
Yeah, thank you, Anangwe. Very good question.
Yeah.
Before we talk about, as a country, are we in a position to have it? Let me also try to bring the numbers again to give the audience how the picture looks today.
Yeah.
Eamon said 33% of children under 5 are stunted.
Yeah.
That's true. But if you do some aggregate and break down the data, the picture is even actually a little bit bad. Because you'll see stunting is affecting mostly the rural communities.
Yeah.
It actually goes beyond, 33 is just at the national average. But if you look at the rural setting, stunting goes beyond 39%.
Yeah.
And if you look at the boy child, 37% are stunted compared to 29% of the girls. So that's another issue that is a puzzle for us. Why are the boys more stunted than the girls? So now you ask the question, can we reduce this? If we put a lot of efforts together, we can reduce it. But I also want to appreciate the reduction trend what the government has done over the 15 years. If we look at 2005, a period of 15 years, from 2005 to 2020, stunting in 2005 was 51%.
That was really high.
Very high. It was actually a public health concern. Now, when you come to 2020, it has gone down from 51% to 33%. What does this tell us? This is telling us that we've been reducing stunting at 1 percentage point every year. So now, the trend is positive, but is this the pace the government wants?
1%.
1.2, 1.1 percentage points every year. 33% is still a public health concern. So now we are asking ourselves, can we push it, perhaps reduce it at 2 to 3 percentage points per year? There are only 2 countries I know that have reduced the stunting at such a high percentage rate. That is Peru, reduced the stunting from 29% to currently 11% in a period of 16 years. So with Rwanda, as you really mentioned, we are ambitious. We set those high-level targets and goals. Government of Rwanda has been intentional with NST2, with the PSTA5, the Agriculture Transformation Strategy, which is now integrating nutrition. So if we put investment across, we are likely
to hit the target.
50
or 15%?
From 33 to 15%.
15.
Yeah.
I want 50%. I want a reduction of 50%. And I want to talk to Prof from a science perspective. Because science is about formulas. We can be ambitious as we want, but what formula are we using? And this is what I want to hear from you. What formula do you think Rwanda should use or could be able to use to be able to push these numbers down? Not by 15, but by 50% by 2029. Is it even practical?
Thank you for that question, Angwe, and thank you for this forum. I think it is possible because of the vision and the passion that the nation has. So because of that, I think it is possible. And it's not just having it as a passion alone, but it is working on a multi-sectoral platform. And at the same time, it's taking a systems approach. So this is really assisting the country to move forward. If you take the case of the amount of money or the expenditures on nutrition, it is gradually increasing. So, and it knows where it is, at least it knows through experiments that how far, which areas we have progressed, which areas we have lagged behind, the causes that has led to the lagging, and how to act to enhance the pace at which we can move. So those areas have been identified. That's the way we can see that NST2 has come out. And it's saying that there is a key priority area, and it is focused on reduction of stunting. So it is possible because of the leadership and the way the country has framed itself to move forward.
Interesting. And we'll come back to probe that a bit more. But let me hear, Emon, especially on the aspect of the in-between from the top leadership. There's the in-between that is supposed to actually support the overall vision at the top. And I want to understand the lack or the availability of the connection in mind and energy to be able to say, look, we need to own this process. We need to ensure that it actually works for all of us. I want to understand what has been the gap, what has been the challenge in trying to push down the numbers of malnutrition, the numbers of stunting to be specific, and what is being done to fix those so that we can now be able to align on this target that we are looking at.
Thank you. My panelist has been saying, and I will be basing on what they have said. Actually, the will of the government is available. And even the government has set the targets. And when you see where we came from and where we are today, there is a good leadership. But as you said, where is the gap? We call upon a multi-sector approach.
Multi-sectoral approach.
That's the point I want to emphasize on.
That has been lacking.
Because the interventions are there. And basing on the statistics, the set interventions, they are really working. But the gap is, are we really implementing the way it should?
Give me an answer to that. Are we?
Now, the answer to that is we call upon all stakeholders to engage together, to have that will, but not will only, taking an action in it.
Yeah.
The interventions are there, and the available resources are there. Let us allocate and engage in action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's very powerful, and I will not leave it just like that. I want to ask you a follow-up question on the same. When you say that the will is there from a government perspective, stakeholders need to actually walk the talk, take advantage of the political will, take advantage of the leadership that is there. What would define a proper multi-sectoral action for you from where you sit?
A proper multi-sector action, here I mean, the government, the will of the government is there.
Yeah.
And it has set a target.
Yeah.
And interventions are there. What I want to emphasize on is the collaborative and collective efforts together.
Yeah.
Social cluster ministries.
Yeah.
All cluster ministries work together jointly. Not even working together jointly, but even reaching to the household level. Not only going to the national level and set things just like that.
Yeah.
Let's go down there on the household level.
Yeah.
Even we monitor whether the available interventions are really
reaching.
working, are reaching to the last consumer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'll come back to you, Prof, but why I'm going to go to Silva first is when Amon was responding about the multi-sectoral approach needed, he said, which is lacking. It's actually lacking. And Silva, I want to understand from where you sit, how do we make it work? There's a stick and there's a carrot. What would be the best approach? And I like the fact that Prof is here. When she hears carrot from a nutritional perspective is exacting you. But let's understand, what will be needed in this case? Because we need to act, we need to move. We cannot keep talking.
Totally.
We know where the problem is.
Totally.
We cannot just sit back.
We cannot sit back and relax. I think a multi-sector approach creates a great opportunity to work together to reduce child stunting in this country. I'm looking at the government side. We've talked about the social cluster ministries. These are the ministries that are working on matters that are quite related. We are talking about the Minister of Health, Minister of Agriculture, Minister of Infrastructure, Minister of Education, Minister of Local Government.
Gender and Family Promotion.
Gender and Family Promotion, NST2. These are the social cluster ministries that are really implementing activities related to promoting nutrition. We have the development partners. We have the non-government organizations. We have the civil society organization. We have the private sector. All these should be working together as a team. All the investment they have, they should be really working together. So what is lacking is now like this. We have NST2. We have PSTA5, the agriculture transformation. We need a very strong coordination. Coordination effort has been lacking. We've been doing that, but as we elevate these policies, we're going to need a high-level coordination effort, for sure. And for that is to hold everyone accountable, increase the convening power for the partners to sit and discuss really what are we doing? Are we duplicating? Should we work as a team at the district level? And this should be translated down to the district level. We have seen where districts that are really active on nutrition, and they have been reducing stunting and hungry. But there are some districts that are still lagging behind because perhaps nutrition is not their priority. So coordination, leadership, working together, that will require really reducing stunting.
Right, I'll come back to that. Prof, these numbers are not looking good. Of course, we might say, yeah, you know, we're reducing, it's all good, but we have to ask ourselves, what are we lacking for us to actually even end malnutrition completely, because what has always been needed has always been the political will and good governance, a government that understands we need to fix this for our people, and that is there. And I want to ask you now, as we fix these key issues that the two gentlemen have spoken about, talk to me a bit about the critical nutritional deficiencies that you believe would be needed keenly to help now support these efforts to fix this. I know we might fix the institutional gaps, but without the nutritional component, again, we'll be going nowhere. Yeah.
Thank you for that interesting question. I think everything lies on nutrition.
Yeah.
And nutrition is the cornerstone of life. We may say that, but we have to understand what we actually mean by that.
Yeah.
For stunting, actually it is protein. Protein is the major cause. So we have to have quantity, quality, as well as diversity.
And availability.
Of course. So I was talking about proteins, quality and quantity. So when we talk about quantity, there should be, we have enough beans, and beans is a good source of proteins. And I think protein is sufficient, but we should know if they are able to, of the rural poor, are they able to access them? And are they able to consume them? And we have only one plant-based protein, but there is no diversity among the plant-based protein. The second one is quality. When we talk about protein quality, I think animal source proteins are coming to set the pace to enhance the quality. And the Ministry of Agriculture has done several efforts in order to see to it that people can have animal source proteins. So animal source proteins are not only good for the protein alone, but also for the vitamins, especially the B12 vitamin, as well as the mineral iron. So these two are very important. We talk about cognitive development in terms of stunting, and for that, B12 plays a very important role. You don't get B12 from plant-based sources. It's just only from animal sources. And it helps in the central nervous system, the health of the central nervous system, if I can say, because that's the one which contributes to the cognitive development. And we want to enhance economically the situation. So we have to contribute. Every citizen is expected to contribute to the GDP of the nation, which means B12 plays a very important and a significant role. If
I may ask you, just before you come in,
wanted to compliment
before you come in, I'm just going to ask this, because I want us to also be a bit realistic from a perspective of proper understanding of our citizenry, of the significance of, some of these vitamins and these nutritional factors that you mentioned, Prof. For some people, like we heard from Amon, in terms of the rural areas and other parts of the country, there are people who are saying, as long as I had a meal, and that's it. What do we do to ensure that there is a proper understanding that, look, it's not just about the quantity of food you eat or the times you eat, but it is eating the right food. If we are to push a campaign, like we've done for Tunyweles is let's drink in moderation or less. Now, if we are to push a campaign for nutrition, eating right, what sort of advice would you give for that person who's watching tonight and has the power to convene and say, look, we need to go this way? What would be your advice?
To look at their food plate, to see the color of the food plate, what colors are there, are represented there. So that means it will be white, red, green, orange. So those colors, how it is filling our plate is important. And another thing is, I think food habits play an important role, but with education we have to help our food plate or the way we eat, consume, should be really encouraged as eating 3 times. We want to eat once in the afternoon, a huge plate. But the body is in need of nutrients. Yeah. Just as a car would go a certain distance up to what the petrol is there, or the fuel is there. So once the fuel gauge shows that it has gone down, you have to put back the fuel. So we need nourishment in the morning. That's why we say eat like a king in the morning breakfast. Then afternoon, you have to have your lunch. Evening may be a snack, and then night a good supper.
Right.
So food habits also should be modified.
Right. I'll come back now on the aspect of children. That's for us as adults. But before you come in, Amon, Silva had something to say. You wanted to interject. You wanted to...
I wanted, exactly. If you look at the numbers, for example, the eggs, very good, packed with high proteins, with all the nutrients. If you look at the numbers, it's really low.
Consumption.
Of consumption. Only 5% of children under 5 are consuming eggs. So for us as GAIN, that's where we come in, because one of our mission is to promote the consumption of nutritious foods, healthier diets, targeting the most vulnerable people, that's women and children. One of the things we've done to ensure that we increase the consumption is through working with SMEs, the small businesses that are investing in nutritious foods. And these should be really having access to the most vulnerable in the communities. So we are trying to improve the access to make sure that the most vulnerable, if you're counseling the mother, feed your child eggs, the mother will ask you, where am I going to get the eggs? So if you have the access to the communities, so these SMEs that are managed by women and youth plays a very key role as well. Just wanted to add that we have to increase the numbers. As she said, eggs investment, fish is increasing the country, but it's still lacking. We need more. We need more. If you look at the numbers.
So meaning someone who's watching us tonight and is potentially looking for an area to invest in, this is where you would point them to, Amon?
Actually, complementing what they have said, today we still see a gap in consumption of animal sourced food. That stands on 7%. 7% consumption rate.
When you do the research, what points to the reason for that?
Mindset.
Mindset.
Mindset, affordability.
Mindset and affordability. That's where NCDA comes in collaboration with stakeholders. We launched Hehe Nigwinjira campaign, aiming at raising the, knowledge on consumption of animal-sourced food. And also we have a program of 1 egg per child. That's a program that is being done on ECD centers. To make sure that on a plate should be at least 1 egg.
Daily.
Daily. If we do that consistently, we shall bridge the gap. But also, in addition to that, we have to implement consistently the teaching, nutrition education, teaching in community forums, in different, forums. So, but also we raise campaigns consistently. If we do that,
will not get anywhere. Before Prof comes in, especially on the aspect of the low rate in uptake of animal-sourced proteins, I've spoken to some people within the agri-business and food system value chain. One of the challenges they speak about is the access or the cost or the high cost of animal feeds. And I want to understand, probably because we've talked about the multi-agency approach, where we are not saying, hey, you guys with the animal food, animal protein, sourced foods or nutrients, deal with your challenges, as we just want kids to eat the egg a day. How are you speaking for each other in terms of seeking, when they come to you and say, look, if we got an incentive X, it would lead to more production for us to be able to avail these eggs that you want us to avail. Otherwise, there could be a reason why, other than just the mindset.
In that mindset perspective, NCD obviously works with implementing partners.
Yeah.
And as of today, a lot of local NGOs is distributing free hens to the low-income household families. We aim just to bridge the gap. Maybe our panelists will compliment me.
Yeah.
But that's not enough, as you said.
Yeah.
And I can't assure you that it has reached the level we want
Yeah.
for all the household.
Yeah.
But at least we are on a good way.
Yeah.
We move. But also, we are working with the private sectors to invest in, to bridge the gap for sustainably.
Yeah.
So, but also in addition to that, social behavior change, communication is
important.
Is important.
Right.
As we are doing with stakeholders,
Right.
that's what we are doing as of now.
Right. Prof, if we were to talk about the aspect of the most urgent interventions needed, you've had a chance to probably look at the NST2, particularly on the aspect of nutrition and what it requires us to cut down this stunting or malnutrition challenges. What would be some of the expertise that you feel will be needed, and what are the expertise gap? I would say skills gap.
Skills gap. Oh.
Yes, because it will not be possible for just a few to manage to achieve this from a country level. What are the expertise gaps that you feel are available, and how can the NST2 speak to the skills development for those who will support its full implementation, particularly on that issue of malnutrition?
Okay, that's a wonderful question.
Yeah.
For me, I personally feel that education, one of the priorities that NST2 has given is education also.
Yeah.
And as you know, when you read the literature, it shows that the mother's education is very important and vital.
Yeah.
And not only for the mother's education alone, because if you educate the mother, of course, the family gets educated.
Yeah.
But not only that, she should also learn to make some foods at home level, to process some nutritious foods.
Yeah.
So in that way, I think food product development is one of the skills which we can really explore, because we see there are lots of TVETs, and that is one area where we can really develop, and that area can be deployed into the communities so that mothers as well as youth can get that skill, so that they will be able to produce nutritious foods not only for the family, some can be even sold, so they have some economic empowerment for the family. And also in the rural areas, because the problem of stunting is high over there, there is nutritious foods available in the community over there. So that is one way which we can also explore. So that is what I suggest.
Interesting. Silva, I mean, from where you sit at Gain, what sort of skills development gaps you see, and how can we fill them? Because if we don't have the know-how of understanding what Prof just said about the color of the plate and explaining it in a way that everybody understands and sees the value, as opposed to saying, this is luxury. How do I start looking at the color? Is it blue, yellow, green? I want to eat. I want my child to eat. How do we do that?
In all these skills development is very important. We need to have people with knowledge to tell the mother the right message, to eat the right foods. So if you look at Rwanda's decentralized health system, is very well set. Let's look at from the hospitals down to the health centers, down to the community health workers. That whole chain of cadres, health workers, have to be informed, have to be supported and trained. to deliver the right messages that is really uniform, right from the top down to the community health workers. So with the next 5 years, it is very critical for the government and all the partners to make sure that the skills are provided, the right message is provided, targeting the mother. We have an opportunity in Rwanda because we have mothers coming for growth monitoring and promotion at the community level every month, at the ECD centers, at the nutrition centers. This is a huge opportunity for us to be closer to these women coming with the children, to give them the right messages. That's where the cooking demonstration comes in Anangwe. That's where all these types of food we are talking about, eggs, fish, should be demonstrated and feed the children at the community level. So going forward, capacity development, skills development, transfer of the knowledge is going to be very critical.
It's going to be very, very critical in that sense. Yes.
Could I just add something? Yes. Like, for example, in industrial food fortification, it's a very important and a key area where you can add micronutrients, but I think we would need more support in having technicians who would be able to support food fortification at the industry level. So I think there we would need to develop some skills because food fortification is an excellent platform. It's a driver so that it can really support communities, and also the chain, the value chain should not stop only at the cities, Kigali city or the secondary cities. It should go deep down into the villages so that it is accessible for those in the rural areas. Those were my thoughts.
I like that. And you say that it tickles an idea in my mind that probably could be one of the things we need to look at. Number one, you know, when we were young, when we were growing up, we understood there were some different ways of how people were raised and fed in the olden days. I remember seeing pictures or even seeing in real life a kid on the lap of mama or grandma, and porridge is by force. Nose and you swallow, and you swallow. Today's parenting is a bit different. Modern parenting. And we're like, baby doesn't want to eat. Leave baby. Baby will eat when baby is hungry. Talk to me a bit about what advice would you give? Because it is affecting. It would affect also how this child grows in that sense. You talk about fortified foods. Some of us are still lucky to have our mothers who are the grandmothers of our children, and probably for them they have perceptions about these kind of foods. They're like, hey, these are the foods that are going to cause cancer to our children. These are the foods that are going to hurt our children. And there's you know, crossroad that this parent is now standing at. How do we deal with this from a scientific perspective tonight?
Okay, I think we have to ensure quality assurance, food safety. So we start off with the Rwanda Standards Board. We have all of them in place. So I think we will not have problems with that. So once everything on those lines are set, I think education, everywhere everything starts with education. So we educate, not only we are able to access media, so we get educated. But how will the rural folks get educated? So we are the ones who have to carry the message to them. So we should be mindful that they are existing in the community, and we should not be limiting the messages to ourselves. So I think to carry it, one of the ways we could carry it is not only through different programs and projects, but also to use the universities, the academias, the TVETs, the schools. So the Ministry of Education comes in wherein the curriculum also can, because it is being enhanced every time. Knowledge is being generated and curriculums are being upgraded. So those are some of the ways in which we can really do.
And Amon, you've supported the ECD centers, you know, creation and running throughout the country. And I want to understand how this clarion call will be channeled or is being channeled to ensure that they too are part and parcel of achieving NST2 targets, particularly on that area of malnutrition and stunting in particular.
Thank you, Anangwe. ECD is one of the core to achieve NST2. ECD is a hub that have the inclusive ECD service delivery. Through ECDs, first of all, ECD, we have 6 pillars of ECD, where there is nutrition, healthy, positive parenting, child protection. Through integrated ECD services, we have different kind of ECDs. But the main ones are from the community.
Yeah.
So from the community is where the children under 6 are gathered with the caregivers, and they are able to receive the integrated ECD services. Here we mean nutrition. They demonstrate cooking demonstration sessions. They do health services. They also teach their caregivers on how to prepare balanced diet. But not only that, they are able to receive the integrated services in different ways, in different approaches. It's where, for example, we've been seeing reluctant in consumption of animal sourced food.
Correct.
Because of the cultural norms, etc. But when the children gather over there with their caregivers, they are able to be taught on how and why consumption of egg is important.
Yeah, but then I'll pause for a minute there, and let's try to interrogate those strategies versus the results that we are seeing in terms of reducing the malnutrition numbers. They say you can't do the same things and expect different results. So I want to challenge and ask this. What then will be done differently this time under NST2 to achieve its ambitious targets? We had Silva talk about we can't go far with less than 2% reduction rate annually. So what will these ECDs do, or what is the strategy overall from where you sit in now maybe doubling the digits or making them 3 digits rate reduction ahead of NST2 achievement?
Sure, we need to implement the way differently.
Yeah.
And we need to apply innovative ideas and approaches.
Correct.
Exactly.
For example, we have an activity today that is ongoing today. That is, we call it community dialogue.
Yeah.
We are going across all districts of the country. That community dialogue is the way we transfer the message relating to health and nutrition.
Yeah.
It's awareness campaign that we do it through drama, through radio, radio talk show, and also we gather all community families together with local leaders. So through working in that way, plus other interventions, also in collaboration with implementing partners, I think we should achieve NST2.
Achieve NST2. So, Sylvia, I want to come to you. You've been picking these ideas for some time, and I want to understand in terms of the transformation of the food systems and the entire value chains, but also trying to see what would be different in terms of our approach to achieving NST2 targets if we were to actually cut these numbers to the numbers that we're looking at. What should we do differently? I know you talked about the multi-sectoral approach. He's spoken about the way ECDs are now approaching things differently. But from where you sit, what more needs to be done differently?
Very good question. Thank you. I think traditionally, we have been fighting malnutrition through the healthy channel, which is not bad.
Yeah.
But of recent, we are shifting through the food systems approach, the food system transformation approach, something that hasn't been really explored.
Yeah.
If you look at the food system transformation, it's so huge and broad, from the farm to the fork. In between, there is a number of work that should be done effectively. We are talking about fighting food loss. That's where Minagri comes in with their new strategy. And fighting food loss, minimizing food loss is one of those.
Yeah.
Improved seeds, promotion of healthier diets. Because before we've been talking about food production, that has been really the agenda of Minagri. But now the ministry has now really changed and have embraced a food system transformation approach. Because there are in between a lot of things that have to be done. Very good nutrition, health promotion, all that through the entire food systems approach. It's a whole chain of things that we have to support and do better.
Right, interesting.
So coming from the angle of the health, now we come in the angle of the
food systems.
Food systems.
And the value chains.
And the value chains.
Again, we need to put more effort on handling post-harvest losses.
Exactly.
Early education is the master key to invest in.
And infrastructure, storage,
technology,
all that.
Preservation, processing.
Biofortified foods, nutrition-sensitive agriculture. Then also, what is that, irrigated farming, sustainable agriculture. So many systems which really influences the health of the population.
Right. And while at it, Prof, I want to ask you, especially on the aspect of innovation and of course research, the place of research in all this. We discover new things every day.
Yeah, you're right.
What do we do differently as researchers, or what do you do differently? What would you recommend to be done differently in order to support with scientific approach, so that we are moving from an informed perspective, not just emotions, not just what we think is right, but it is backed by science?
I think we can, we have this problem of this intergenerational malnutrition. For that, I think nutritional genomics would be a better approach. So you know at the cellular level what exactly the problem is, and you can address it. So that would be an innovative way of handling it. Sorry. And for Ministry of Agriculture, for example, they can increase the amount of biofortified foods. Like now we already have beans, which has high iron beans. It also has zinc in it. We have the orange flesh sweet potatoes and other kinds of foodstuffs, the crops that are generally consumed, which is part of the Rwandan plate. We can also try to have them biofortified. So that is another approach for the Ministry of Agriculture. For Ministry of Education, I would suggest that they go in to look for behavior change, build skills on that, because I think we have to really build skills. Behavior change has to be really part and parcel, or there should be some programs related to it. And then we should be able to keep teaching communities over and over about healthier diets. It's
very important.
Those
very
areas.
Interesting. Very interesting. And we'll talk a bit about that in the remaining minutes we have. But let me bring in our viewers who are also watching us from different parts of their country. Thank you so much for being part of this conversation. I know we have sessions which we are always having a level of silence, but a very keen perspective in terms of listening in from the comments that are coming in from the panelists. But let me read, Eric says the rate is achievable, but only if all stakeholders, including private sector players, particularly financial institutions, actively participate and invest significantly in this area, ensuring both profitability and addressing the existing challenge. I have had different forums where private sector is always brought or crucified for just thinking profits or incentives. If there's no incentive, if there's no profit, we're not going in there. So I want to ask each of you, what best ways can we ensure that private sector is fully on board? Because we've spoken about the challenges, which should be seen as opportunities of investment. But sometimes you'll find that it is not properly exploited by those within the private sector spaces. And government cannot do everything. So I'm going to start with you as we come this way. What ways can we ensure that private sector is fully in and see these as opportunities to invest in while still saving lives?
According to my perspective, where there is a challenge, it's the best way to invest in. Because if you overcome those challenges, you'll gain more. So, based on that, I call upon private sector to invest.
One area that you want them to invest in?
We want them to invest in animal-sourced food. It's where I'm seeing a huge gap.
Right.
We want them to invest And we shall collaborate with them with education.
Right.
Yes, that's
Perfect.
the
Prof, where would you see opportunities for private sector?
I think additional foods to be biofortified, and then also enhancing food fortification.
Yeah.
Those are the two areas I would suggest to be for the private sector to come in.
Yeah. Interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think I would like, first of all, to commend the government of Rwanda, how they handled this when they were reviewing the NST2 and the agriculture transformation strategy.
Yeah.
They ensured that they consulted the private sector. The private sector has been on board through all these processes.
Yeah.
And for me, what I want to see is to see them really involved in promotion of nutritious foods, consumption of nutritious foods. For example, look at the eggs value chain. They should help us to increase the numbers of the children consuming eggs that can access eggs. So they can come in with that capacity to avail the nutritious foods.
Right.
Like
Let me read
eggs and
some
fruit.
last comments, and then we come for our closing remarks. I have Dismas who says, Dr. Hilda is the best nutrition advisor. It's of great interest to invite her.
Thank you.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah.
I have another one. Anyway, help us to be informed about the minimum marks of being given a scholarship to join University of Rwanda. Is there anyone who can pick that? This is it's interesting, but we'll
What was the question then?
on the minimum marks of being given scholarship to join University of Rwanda. I don't think this is for us for today. Thank you for that. But in closing, we all agree, I think, that this target is achievable.
Yeah.
But what are the commitments from each of us that we can be able to say, look, not at a personal level, but at an institutional level, as a sector level, this is what I would commit, or I would request for commitment from others. I want us to start coming this way. Emon.
Going to an end, I would comment to a collective effort from implementing partners, private sectors, all spheres to come in together.
Yeah. But what do you commit as NCDA?
But as NCDA, as our mandate says, we are here to coordinate and monitor.
Okay.
And of course, we are ready to work with them. Let them come with their building ideas. We shall complement and shall work together.
Right.
To bridge the gap.
Yeah, but you can also go to them.
Exactly.
Wonderful.
And we reach to the household level down there.
Interesting. Dr. Hilda.
For us, I think we are available to go even up to the communities, to assist them, to learn more about healthier diets, so that it will be part and parcel of their day-to-day lives. But I think everyone should commit themselves as a nutrition citizen. Everyone should commit themselves, and they should know what they are really eating from their plate. It's just not filling the stomach, but if their plate is nutritious. So I can commit personally towards it for that, but as an institution from GAIN, I think we are committed towards healthier diets for Rwandese.
Right. And when you say that, you trickle something, that it is actually very key from the conception time.
Yeah, you're right.
That's where it all starts.
Yeah.
The nutrition or malnutrition journey.
Yes.
And we need to start that journey from that point.
Yeah.
Interesting. Silva.
Thank you, Anangwe. As GAIN, we want to really use our expertise and knowledge to promote the consumption of healthier diets.
Yeah.
Especially look at those key value chains that are highly nutritious, like eggs and fruit trees, to make sure that the community are getting the right nutrients. So this is our commitment, promising to work closely with the government, with our development partners who are supporting us through this. For example, like the Swiss government, through SDC, we are in discussions to make sure that perhaps in the future we contribute something. So we want to go through the healthier diets, that where we excel better as an organization and have contributed to supporting other countries, not only Rwanda, that have improved their nutrition targets.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And,
Can I just tell
yes,
something?
just because it's you. Just very quickly.
No, because I just wanted to emphasize what Silva said. He said about the fruit trees.
Yeah.
Let's not forget them.
Yeah.
Let's not forget them because they are the source of micronutrients,
Right.
and they're very important for the diet.
Yeah. Engagement of men.
Yes, engagement of men.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I told you earlier on that it's usually the shortest
It's
one.
going to be, yeah. It's very short like
done.
that. Yeah. It's done? Wow. Okay.
It is over when the screens behind me are saying we need to leave.
All right.
So I want to say thank you very much
Thank you very
for making the time, and we'll be able to now leave and then be able to go the way we came. All right?
Okay, thank you
so much for being part of this particular conversation. Asante sana. Turi kumujana. Sawa, let's go.
Okay, sure.
Thank you.